everyone. My name is Clilia Davis, and I'd like to welcome you to the season finale of HealthWise. We're going to have a lovely show this evening. I'm joined by Doctors Davis and Lescott, and our special guest this evening, Dr. Jonathan Carty. So, we're going to have a packed show. This evening, we'll be speaking about beyond the emergency room, how critical care medicine can transform St. Kitts and Nevis's healthcare system. So, we'll take a quick commercial break and we'll come right back to the show.
Smart Electronics, your one-stop shop for all your electronic needs. Unlock cell phones, tablets, laptop computers, Bluetooth speakers, TVs, mobile accessories, memory cards, USB drives. We carry all major brands. Now you don't have to go anywhere anymore. Everything's available under one roof. Smart Electronics at Port Sante opposite the food court. Telephone 466-4271. Visit our website at dutyfreesmartelectronics.com. Smart Electronics, way to live a smart life.
Welcome back, everyone. So this evening, as mentioned before, we're going to have a packed show. So I'll first like to give a little context and introduce our guest, Dr. Carty. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. Thank you for having me this evening.
Welcome to our show.
It's my pleasure.
You're here for the season finale of HealthWise this season, and we're going to introduce you, make sure that you get a little comfortable, get into the vibes of the three of us here.
Right.
And then we're going to speak about your subspecialty, and then you can tell us a little bit about yourself, where you would have started, why you chose medicine, and then this specific subspecialty.
Okay. Well, good night, everyone. Once again, it's a pleasure being here this evening to share my experience with you guys. So it's going to be a little bit of a story time now. Sure. So for all those who don't know me, I'm Dr. Jonathan Carty, and it was back in about 2012 when I used to work as an emergency medical technician at the Josephine France General Hospital, where I would frequently visit the A&E department to practice skills, to shadow the doctors, and to see what's going on. I was very keen on medication and drugs, their interaction, and I've always, when I see the doctors do treatment orders, I'll be there with them, looking in the drug book, trying to figure out what is this drug, what is it used for, what is the side effect. And one evening shift, while working with one of my great mentors, and I really hope she doesn't mind me calling her name tonight, that's Dr. Grant Tate, our now local oncologist. Yes. She was like, why don't you go study medicine? So medicine. I'm like, okay, well, I thought about the idea, and I told her, I was thinking about Windsor. And she's like, what about Cuba? And at that point in time, I knew nothing about Cuba. The only thing I knew about Cuba was, it was a Spanish-speaking country, and at that time, Fidel Castro was their president. So she gave me the whole rundown, She gave me her experiences, and I was like, okay, that sounds very interesting. So the next day, I went down to the government headquarters. I filled out all the applications, I brought in all the papers and all the required documents, and this would have been to the end of 2012. Mm-hmm. So at the start of 2013, about January, February, I received a call saying that for that year, I was one of the 3 recipients for the 2013 Cuba Medical Scholarship. So 7 years later, moving forward 7 years, when we completed, and this will be now in the dead of COVID, while still in isolation here at the hotel, I heard all about what's been happening at the hospitals and our A&Es being overwhelmed, our ICUs being overwhelmed with patients, our private wards being overwhelmed, patients dying, patients with respiratory distress, patients having to be ventilated for long periods of time. And I was like, we don't have someone to zoom in on intensive care and critical care, and that is going to be something that's going to be needed and something that we need to be able to, help these patients at this point in time. So while still in quarantine, and that was me just coming back from Cuba as an MD, I spoke to our Cuban-based ambassador, and I was like, is there any possibility for you to get in contact with the Cuban government, through the Ministry of Health and Foreign Affairs, and see if they'll be able to give me a scholarship for emergency medicine? But what happened in Cuba, it's combined. So it's intensive care medicine and medical emergencies. It's not just emergency medicine, where you will see it in other countries, like emergency medicine on one side, whereas intensive care will be on the other side. It's a combined specialty. So I filled out this application, and again, this was during COVID time, so everything was like on pause. So it was not until 2022 when I received the call again saying that I was lucky enough to, get get this scholarship. So I went and...
So you were working in St. Kitts from,
Yeah,
from
yes,
2020
yes.
to 2022?
Yeah, over 1 year. I did my enrichment program rotations on the ward, and I finished off by working on the COVID-19 side of the accident and emergency room, which gave me more of that, reason to go back and get myself specialized in the area of intensive care to come back now and be able to deal with such intense, critically ill patients and cases. So 3 years later, after an intense residency program and completing over 7,000 clinical hours and one-on-one patient in a high intense environment, and after a thesis defense on tracheostomy and its impact on stroke patients.
So what's that? What's tracheostomy? That's the correct term?
Yeah,
That's the correct
tracheostomy.
term. So when you have patients that need like a quick act, it's a surgical procedure where normally the perform the surgeon where we make a opening in the throat to be able to insert a tube or a cannula through the trachea so that we could be able to access and maintain a proper airway and connect the patient to a mechanical ventilation. And you see that in persons that it's difficult to access it by orally, where you have the oral tracheal tube, they will have like obstructions, there were patients with edemas. So those are or patients who have like they're on the ventilators for a long period of time. To help, clean the airways, to help better manage the airway, we'll do the tracheostomy to, better assist them to ventilation.
So for the layman, we could say that that's the process that helps to insert a breathing tube?
It's
So
a surgical procedure
yeah.
that, it facilitates the access and to the control of the airway.
Yeah, so it's just, so normally when you hear the term ostomy, so quick medical lesson here. Normally when you hear the term ostomy, think of an opening or an area that allows communication, right? So you have the trachea, and then we're gonna have a communication, a pathway, and that's why you have the tracheostomy, right? And I think one of the best ways to relate it, we watch TV, and sometimes you hear about smokers, and they have to close it and talk.
Yes.
That's exactly what it is, the hole right here.
Okay.
That's what it does.
Gotcha. So, Dr. Carty, can you expound a little bit more in terms of what exactly critical care is and maybe how that differs from accident and emergency?
Well, when we talk about intensive care medicine, basically is the medical specialty where we deal with critically ill patients with life-threatening illness or major traumas. So no, this will involve like continuous monitoring, advanced life support, specialized treatment to stabilize these patients, and for those patients who have like their vital organs may be failing, or maybe at risk of having their vital organs failing. So when we talk about patients with life-threatening conditions, we're talking about those that have severe burns or sepsis patients, heart failure, kidney failure, respiratory failure. And then we, as the intensivist in the specialized unit of the hospital, which is the intensive care unit, have the advanced technologies to continuously monitor these persons and give them that life support treatment that they require.
Got you. So when I think about the ICU, I think about a lot of machines, a lot of tubes, a lot of lines. So, and you just mentioned like having all of that technology to be able to sustain life and all of this.
Right.
So what would you say is maybe the most human-centered part of this whole subspecialty, given you have all of these other moving parts that you have to juggle at the same time?
Well, for me, I have like three major points for that, the human touch for it. It's going to be the communication with the families, which is most important because we as the intensivists and our ICU nurses have extended amount of period speaking with the families, trying to explain complex situations and listening to their concerns to provide that optimum care for their family members. And we have to sort of guide them through difficult decision making and difficult situations when it comes around their loved ones. Another aspect for me is that compassionate the compassionate presence with the patients. So you may have your patients intubated, ventilated, maybe in a coma or whatever their pathology may be, they will not be able to communicate, just standing there by the bed or, maybe holding their hand or just talking. That in moments of unsurety or in moments of fear will bring as vital as any machine. And another factor will be the ethical decision making. where we have to be constantly thinking about life support, resuscitation, or choosing comfort care for these patients.
Got you. And you just mentioned something about like the ethical part of it. From watching a lot of shows, I would see persons talk about DNRs.
Right.
So that's do not resuscitate.
Do not resuscitate, yeah.
Right? So in your experience, have you had patients who opt out for that type of directive?
We have had families, especially in Cuba, where you have a patient who have like a terminal illness and they're at the end of the terminal illness. We know that they're suffering, the families know that they're suffering, and they don't want to prolong that suffering. So we'll ask them and have them sign a form that if in the unlikely event that the person goes into respiratory arrest or cardiac arrest, respiratory distress, or needs some sort of further advanced, intensive or invasive actions, should we or should we not? So they were saying that I'm like, no, I just want him to be at peace. I just want him to rest. So that's where the situation comes in now, where you have to talk about that comfort, that care.
Understand. So we're gonna take a short commercial break. I think the conversation is getting quite exciting. I'm trying to contain myself with the questions. So we'll take a short commercial break and we'll be right back. Thank you, guys.
It's time that we realize that we must work together to thrive. The world as we know it, the sky and below it. Could I never have more wonder? Yeah, with life and all you see and the climate's changing.
But hope is remaining.
And we can't ignore the future. It depends on you and me. One chance, all that we got. One voice, together we start. Take care, the world where we live. Permite a todos vivir. Tomamos la oportunidad para cortar la humanidad. And I must leave no one behind because we are one climate, one Caribbean. One climate, one Caribbean.
And welcome back to this episode of HealthWise. This is our season finale. If you guys are just joining us, welcome. We have Doctors Davis, Lescott, and our special guest, Dr. Carty. And we were just speaking about his work in the intensive care unit and why he would have chosen that specific subspecialty. And Dr. Carty, I really am interested to know, from your training, what do you think would have been one of the most highlighted things that you feel, what's the word, confident about, or you feel proud of yourself as a clinician for, because you would have been in training and practice for almost 15 years now? 10?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, tell us about that. What do you feel most proud of so far?
For me, it's 3 points. It's 3 points. So we have that patient advocacy that we just mentioned. Like you have patients who doesn't have a voice, so you sort of become their voice. So you'll be able to express their values and wishes. A next point for me would be the ethical clarity, like we mentioned earlier, where we have to have discussions with end-of-life treatments and treatment goals requirement, and those goals require sensitivity, honesty, and empathy. And another major factor for me is the clinical judgment under pressure. And that one is, for me, that's the one I like the most. I'm happy that I have that the most, because the ability to, under pressure, make a rapid evidence-based decision when second matters really goes a far way.
Yeah, I could only imagine. And having the other clinicians and the panel tonight, can you guys tell me what you feel like is your most prized possession as a doctor? What makes you feel proud thus far in your career?
Well, for me, it would be the ability to connect with persons from different backgrounds. Whether we like it or not, our society is classed, and sometimes, persons like to say, oh, you shouldn't judge, but that's what we do in order to evaluate something. You have to judge. So as soon as a patient comes in, as a clinician, you already starting your diagnosis, you're already judging, you're already evaluating. And some persons may have the academic or the intellect to have a conversation at a certain level, and others don't. You know, so sometimes we can have a conversation and we're talking about all these different topics with you know, medical jargon, and they understand clearly. And then you talk to somebody and they're like, well, we may not understand. And you know what? I realize that from my practice, a lot of persons, you explain to them, they're like, yeah, I understand your doctor. And I love to do this. And if anybody has ever been with me and we're having a conversation, I always say, so tell me what you understand.
And that's how you
And
really
that's how
know.
I realized that, you know, no, you don't really know much.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, tell me what it is you do. You said something about this pill and, what you say again? I get that so much. So I love the fact that I'm able to talk to anybody. I mean, it's not really a skill that a lot of persons have. It's sometimes it's difficult to like really relate to people.
So you're like a chameleon in
Yes,
a
I'm a
sense.
chameleon, right? I can just move from different levels and just, you know, and one thing I love about being a doctor is that you're your patient's confidant, right? What they will not tell their husbands or their children or their parents, they will trust you enough to tell you, especially teenagers. And a lot of parents like the fact that, no, my daughter would never, and this. And then you say, okay, I need to evaluate the patient, so can you step outside for a bit? I need to. And then most of the times they don't question you. You close the door and say, okay, I know that you know that I know what the problem is. So let us have a real conversation. Did you or did you not? Yes, but it was only one time. And then everything comes out. Everything comes out. And then that is how you can properly treat and diagnose your patient. And once you're able to maintain that trust and that confidence between you and your patients, it goes a long way. And that's something I believe should never ever be touched, should never ever be broken, you know? Because you don't want your patients to lie to you, and then you misdiagnose them, you give them wrong medication, and then everybody's in problems now, you know?
What about you, Dr. Lescott?
Oh, for me, because of the type of work that I do, I usually get the stressed out family members. By the time they get to me, they're already frustrated, overwhelmed. What I like about my position and what I do is sometimes, like I said, they're already flustered by the time they're in my care, and I like when I'm able to get them to transition from a place of frustration and being flustered to calm, trust, and faith in me. So I've had persons come to me very, very distraught, very, very upset, angry, for different reasons, and just one conversation, let me find out what the source of the angst is, and as soon as I can find out and pinpoint what is bothering them, I'm able to reassure them that I can either rectify as much as possible or fix as much as possible what is maybe triggering them, and then I get the sweetest, most thank you, doctor. Yes, that's what I like. I like when they go from being frustrated, angry with the world,
Calm and
to
peace, back to
zen.
Yeah.
I love that.
Awesome. So everybody here, excluding me, would have worked in accident and emergency at some point in time. And Dr. Carty, you mentioned about having the ability to make quick decisions, evidence-based decisions. You know, what would be the difference in the ER versus the ICU when it comes to those types of quick decisions that you have to make? Or is it more or less the same?
It's going to be more or less the same, because we both in the accident and emergency room, where they're the first ones that are going to see the patient as they come in from the ambulance, whether it be a stab wound, an accident, a stroke, a heart attack, or some sort of respiratory distress. They are the doctors that's basically on the front lines, as well as the EMTs. So Dr. Davis will be able to express more on that, because they are the front lines of the hospital. So as soon as they get in, they'll have to make the rapid assessment, they have to do their labs, they'll have to do their imaging, and they'll have to come to a diagnosis. Now, when I step in, and this is one of the many misconceptions that persons have about intensive care medicine, they think it's just about emergencies, whereas we just step in when, you know, for emergencies, which is beyond the point, because we step in when these patients now need continuous care beyond the emergency room. So the emergency room doctors will stabilize the patient, and now I will come in to continue that care until they progress from vital signs, to manage their treatment, to adjust whatever treatment they need to adjust, and to have that prolonged care until they recover or until they recover point.
Got you.
I'm so happy that Dr. Carty really mentioned that because in a situation like the accident and emergency department, we do not come to give you maintenance treatment. That's not what we're there for. What we do, we're here to stabilize you. You are on a path. Everybody's walking on a path, right? And the path is divided into healthy and unhealthy, or you're alive and you're dying, right? And when persons start to take that path, our job is to come and kind of kick you back onto here. And then once we got you here, we keep you there. And then that's when the different departments, the different wards, or the ICU would come to maintain that, to get you on the path to be out of the hospital. That's what we do.
So a lot of persons may probably, like you mentioned, think, okay, accident and emergency and then ICU. That's
Right.
just one avenue in which you could have patients. Another one could be post-operative patients.
Exactly, especially
And also patients that have chronic diseases.
Yeah.
as well.
Okay, so we just wanted to make sure that the public knows it's not just when you enter the ER, then you automatically go to
the ICU.
the ICU, right? So it's not an extension of the ER per se, but it's something that would maintain
Continuous
Yeah.
care. It's a continuous care.
care. I think that was really, really important to highlight, because whenever, maybe I speak to somebody and they say, oh, you're in the ICU, what happened to you? Like, you get knocked down. So, like, they all automatically think is something accident related, right?
Right.
So you mentioned that you would have worked and saw the workflow during COVID here.
Yes.
So what were some of the things that you saw that you think you would have been able to help get better in terms of workflows or any sort of operations within the ICU?
For me, it's going to be within the ICU as well as the accident and emergency room.
Okay.
Especially during COVID time, one of the workflows I would have improved upon is that airway management readiness.
What is that? It's a long term. What does
Because let's think about it. The airway management readiness basically is one of the most life critical workflows in intensive care medicine, because let's look at the airway as the gateway to oxygenation and ventilation. So if that fails, everything else that comes after that will be irrelevant. So you will have persons being delayed, the interventions will be delayed because persons may not be aware of their roles or what to do in a situation like that. So I would have that point, and now I can do that now, is establish protocols. For example, crash airway cats, where we'll have standardized supplies and a team ready and on standby and knowing what to do to be able to assess these situations when they come up. So that, especially like I mentioned earlier, when second matter. So you're coming with your respiratory failure, your cardiac arrest, your trauma, because in this situation, a delay of even 1 minute or 1 second could cause irreversible brain injury.
So is that like, okay, let me see if my Grey's Anatomy working. is that the ABCs of life?
Yes.
Airway, what's
Breathing,
the B?
circulation.
And circulation.
Yeah. Yes, yes.
I'm not too far off. So from the accident and emergency, in that context, from there moving over to ICU now, you still have to have that sense of urgency in certain cases. Okay, well, whew.
The thing for me, the beauty of it is that you would think you have a process. First I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do that. And then you would think it has an
always
order.
turn out
No,
like
you're doing
that.
everything at the exact same time, right? And everybody has a role. You have the scribe, you have the person who's going to be doing pumping the chest, the
And you have
compressions.
the person who's going to count
You
how
have
many
the-
pumps, because it's a
Yeah.
rhythm,
It's-
and everybody has to work in tandem.
Exactly.
And then everybody has to know when the person has returned to spontaneous breathing. So it means everybody has to be paying attention to the patient when they start to inhale, exhale off of their own. It's a lot.
It's a lot, and not only that, so we have persons working on the breathing and the chest compressions, and
You've
that's
never
them.
seen it. You should see it. It's
There's
something
somebody,
to be seen.
There's somebody who's scribing, there's somebody who's taking note of everything. At 1:01 p.m., this person and going
and
on.
you're supposed to take
time.
breaks.
Yeah, by
Like
time.
the person who is doing the pumping gets tired, so
switch.
we're supposed to switch,
switch them up,
and that's supposed to. It's like you're supposed to have like a game plan plan. So everything works
Everybody
in
has a
tandem, and
role.
everybody's
Has a
supposed to
role.
know their role and stick to it. You're supposed to go maybe 3 rounds and then switch. I can't remember how it goes, but I did some training about that with basic life support training.
Yeah.
So you're supposed, and I don't.
And I'm glad you mentioned that because what the readiness do will build team confidence. So now the team knowing that there are area tools and protocols in place, this gives them the sort of empowerment. So when a situation like this happens now, they'll be able to act
Confident
decisively
that they
and
know.
under pressure.
We're supposed to have like periodic drills. That's something you're supposed to practice.
Definitely.
And I'm not sure what the rules here in St. Kitts is, but in some overseas hospitals, and I know this might come as a shock to some members of the public, but not every doctor and not every nurse is licensed to resuscitate. In some hospitals overseas, if you don't have the basic life support license that is separate and apart from your hospital and medical license, and you do any resuscitation, you can get into trouble. You're supposed to have a license to resuscitate. So I don't know if to do that here.
We have to look into it.
But I know, I had my basic life support training card. It's expired now. But I was licensed at one point in time to do resuscitations.
Yeah, so it's really high intensity, and it all boils down to knowing what you're knowing and trust. Because sometimes you might think you know, but you're in the wrong situation, which means you don't know. You understand?
Which is why the simulations are very important, which is something I want to apply. Like we have to do like drills, we have to do like mock codes, we have to
Call
do
on
like,
me.
Okay.
Call on me.
I'm making a note of that right now.
Because we're gonna need resources. We're gonna need either the mannequin dummy, the specialized medical dummy to do it, or I guess human volunteers. But that's gonna take a toll on your chest, let me tell you. I think we should get the mannequins.
So that kind of segues into the next question I had for you in terms of, let me use a comparative as to not offend anybody.
Right.
You've worked in higher and lower resource management type situations. So even from the lower resources that you may have had and had to train with,
Right.
do you see how that could still be effective? Even if you don't have like the mannequins that she was speaking about, and how do you sort of work within the confines that you may experience currently and try to use those things as evidence to show that we still need more?
Well, like I just mentioned we have to establish these protocols. We have to do the mock codes, we have to do the simulations, we have to do and not just in resuscitation, but with massive transfusion, with accidents, with stroke protocols, because like I just mentioned,
Definitely the stroke
every
protocol.
second count.
I was wondering
Every
about,
second
do
count.
we have let me not ask that.
Like I will have to review all the protocols that's there or that may not be there and do something to make sure
You
that
should
everything is
explain to the
established.
public what and why a stroke protocol is
It's
necessary.
very important,
It's very
especially you have to get the patient there within that golden hour, so to speak, to be able to apply certain medications that will prevent
The EMS, the ambulance are supposed to know ahead in advance what is the shortest route. From the
Right.
time they get the call, they're supposed to know the location of the patient and to figure out the shortest route from point A to point B to
Definitely.
the hospital, which means they're supposed to be abreast if there is an accident, not to take that route and stuff. It's very important. They have
Yeah.
all of these things.
And if, yeah.
We're sorry, we have to stick a pin and take
We have to
a
come
quick
back.
commercial break, and then we'll come back into the conversation. See, I told you guys it's getting really, really hot, so stick and stay with
Getting
us.
hot.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. Another day in the books. Well, hello there. Ooh, she pretty from head to toe, and are you ready to go? Wait there. Whew. Can't afford to slip up. Not even in my dreams.
All right, right, so welcome back to HealthWise. So Dr. Davis was just trying to elaborate just before we went to the break. So I'll give you that chance.
Yeah, so with regards to what Dr. Carty and Dr. Lescott were saying, I was saying that when it comes to emergency vehicles, here unfortunately, we have the bad habit of thinking, they just got on this siren. They ain't going nowhere, they ain't got nowhere to go. Where are going more important than where they got to go? And unfortunately, this holds back a lot, and this is, wasted time that could have been used to save somebody's life, right? And I think it's very important that we learn to respect emergency vehicles, whether it's the police, the fire, or the ambulance, that once you hear that siren is on and you see them, please don't try to cross
I think
the road.
we're becoming too much of a society that lacks compassion.
Yeah.
Yes.
We lack compassion. We really do.
we're
It's very
selfish.
psychopathic and it's very concerning. We lack the ability to put ourselves in somebody else's shoes. How would you like if you are having a stroke and you just have traffic and making it more difficult for the EMS and the driver to maneuver? Like sometimes I wonder, how would you feel if you were in that situation, hanging on to life, and circumstances beyond your control is keeping you from getting to the help that you need? Like, how would you like that?
It's not nice. So, I think we should all be like our neighbor's keeper, right? And always have at the back of my mind, once I hear this is an emergency. This could be my friend. And sometimes you don't even know until you get that phone come like, hey, someone's at the hospital. And he's like, for sure, just to the ambulance. And you know you're doing nonsense in the road.
It doesn't really matter who it is.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter who it is, not because it's not somebody you don't know, it's just the love of human life. Let's respect that. Let's continue. Let's move on.
This is a clarion call for everybody under the sound of my voice. Whenever you hear that siren, regardless if it's fire, ambulance, police, get out of the way.
Yes.
There's no other way I can say. Just get out of the way and let them pass. It's going to be better and best thing for everybody involved, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to take a little shift a little bit, and Dr. Carty, we are under imminent threat all the time of hurricanes and natural disasters and all these things, and we always hear our PM talking about a smart hospital being resilient for climate change and all these kind of things. So what would you consider within the ICU to create that resilience and sustainability?
To have the stronger ICU type of for me, for example, having a stronger ICU is a force multiplier during crisis or during shock, because now what it does, it stabilizes the sickest person and it prevents system collapse. And it accelerates recovery. So now strengthening the ICU, especially here in St. Kitts, through redundant power or oxygen, discipline the clinical bundles. For example, data-triggered surge plans, or you may have regional transfer agreements, so that we'll be able to, instead of collapsing under pressure during a crisis, we'll be able to become resilient and resist whatever may come our way. Because when we see these islands, like small islands and small healthcare system making these resilient plans, whether it be pandemic, whether it be hurricane, whether it be tsunami, whatever it may be, we'll be able to stand and provide instead of collapsing.
Sometimes when I hear the term sustainability, I'll be honest, it makes me wonder. And sometimes I even get confused because my mind starts going a mile a minute. And I'm like, okay, are we talking about the physical structure? Are we talking about the operations, the human resource, the workflows, the quality management?
Everything.
What exactly are we talking about when we say resilience and sustainability, and how does that look practically in a clinical setting?
What I think, right, is that yes, we all want this smart hospital and stuff, but if we have the technology and we don't have the persons with the skill to operate the technology, then it just becomes wasted junk.
Not just that, I find sometimes we assume that everybody in the general public is computer savvy, and that's not the case.
Exactly. So it's not even about computer savvy, it's simply the medical skills. And I feel like the nurses who work in the ICU, right, they need to be on point. Their skills need to be tip-top. They have to be sharp, right? And if we just have one nurse, it's not enough. We need the entire staff to be, tip-top. Yeah.
And this is why I'm so happy you mentioned that point. This is why during this week, when I first started, I began to do my observation around ICU, the other wards, and A&E to see where the bottlenecks are, where the discrepancies are, like where are we failing, and focusing mostly on ICU, I've decided to now begin and to establish my protocols that will be for my ICU and for our nurses as well, who's working in the ICU. So as soon as next week, we'll be able to establish these protocols so that we can, function as a high-level ICU where, those persons coming in wouldn't have the fear of, something may go wrong, or, this is the end, but, have that hope that, it's they'll have the care and they'll be able to reach to recovery.
Understand. And you're not getting any pushback?
Absolutely
It's
not.
welcome change,
it is welcome.
right?
It's going to be welcome change.
Awesome.
It's going to be welcome change.
Yes.
And now, under my watchful eyes and now specialized proper management of the unit, we're going to go far. We're going to go a long way.
Yeah, we
I've
have
spoken to my nurses, I've spoken to our medical director, I've spoken to our medical chief of staff. We are going to go a long way.
Sounds great. And the time is flying because we have to take another commercial break. So we'll be right back. Stick and stay.
The dangers of sweet beverages in the Caribbean. It is time to shine a light on the dangers of sugary beverages. Sugar-sweetened beverages are the main source of sugar in our diets, and eating and drinking too much sugar has been linked to being overweight and obese. In St. Kitts and Nevis, 50% of adult females and 37% of males are overweight and obese. And 28% of children are either overweight or obese. A survey showed that 62% of students between the ages of 13 and 15 drank one or more carbonated sugar-sweetened beverage every day, exceeding their daily healthy limit. So, how much sugar should we consume? The World Health Organization and American Heart Association recommends that children aged 2 to 18 should consume less than 25 grams of sugar daily, and adults should consume less than 50 grams of sugar daily. It will surprise you how much sugar is in some of your favorite beverages. This chart shows that on average, one serving of a sugary beverage exceeds the daily maximum sugar intake for children, which is 25 grams, and is very close or sometimes over the limit for adults at 50 grams. The impact of sweet beverages on your health, your family, and community can be severe. So, it's time to rethink your drink. This message has been brought to you by the St. Kitts and Nevis Ministry of Health.
And welcome back to this episode, our final episode for the season of HealthWise. So far, we've been talking with Dr. Jonathan Carty, who has been elaborating very expertly on the intensive care unit and also medical emergency medicine, along with our hosts, Doctors Davis and Lescott. And now we are going to have our personality spotlight, who is coincidentally Dr. Carty. So let's see that. Thank you.
Valencia Rollins is a dedicated and compassionate nursing professional with more than 23 years of experience in healthcare. She began her educational journey at Sadler's Primary School, continued at Keon High School, and later pursued studies in health sciences at the Clarence Fitzroy Bryant College.
Good day, I'm Dr. Jensen Morton, and today I'm here to introduce to the Federation a new member of staff that we have at the Joseph and France General Hospital. So I'm going to have him introduce himself and tell the Federation just a bit about him.
Good day, I'm Dr. Jonathan Carty from Newton Ground St. Kitts, and I, back in 2013, was privileged enough to be awarded the Cuban scholarship to study medicine in Havana, Cuba, where 7 years later, in the year 2020, I became a general practitioner And after returning back to the Federation in 2020, during the height of the COVID time, I saw the need for a reason to return back to Cuba to specialize in intensive care medicine.
So let people know a bit about what an intensive care specialist actually is.
We're based in the ICU, but we can also assess critically ill patients on all the different wards across the hospital, as well as in accident and emergency, as well as also assist our emergency medical technicians in their assessments of critically ill patients. So what it involves is dealing with patients who have acute critical illness or in the acute phase of a chronic illness.
Dr. Carty is the first intensive care specialist that we've ever had in the Federation's history to be employed with us. And intensive care specialists are rare and valuable, which is one of the reasons why it was so difficult to acquire one in the past. They are strongly linked to improvements with regards to the overall lifespan of persons that come in that are critically ill, and they allow us to have more options with regards to treatments and regimes for persons that come in very bad conditions. So what we are hoping for, which we are expecting, is that with the addition of Dr. Carty on the team, that we're going to see an overall improvement in the health and well-being of our critically ill patients that enter the hospital, and for us to see improvements even down to the level of the emergency medicine technicians and first responders when they are arriving on the scenes and tending to persons that are critically ill. So you'll find out more about Dr. Carty as he continues. His career as an intensivist has just started, and we'll ensure that the Federation is informed every step of the way. Thank you.
All right, so Dr. Carty, if you can tell us one lifestyle changes that the public can make in order to reduce admissions to the ICU, what would that be?
Definitely, that will be improving hypertension control. Improving hypertension control because, because here in the Caribbean, we have a high prevalence in the Caribbean to the food, because based on the food, we have hypertension, one of the most common chronic ailments that most of our people suffer from. And, it doesn't always comes with signs and symptoms until it reaches the point where the patient may have a hemorrhagic stroke or heart attack, which is why most of the times we refer to it as the silent killer, because some person may be walking around severely hypertensive, they have absolutely they have no idea what's going on, and in moment's notice they drop. You do DCTs, hemorrhagic stroke, uncontrolled HTN.
It's like a ticking time bomb.
It's like a ticking time bomb, right? It's the silent killer. So these heavy salt diets, we have to control, especially now coming into the Christmas season. All the carnival, the hams, the turkeys.
Oh boy!
So
we're excited for Christmas.
Yeah. So we have to have that reduction in salt. Reduction in salt consumption, and that will be improving the blood pressure monitoring, that will improve the blood pressure control, and it will lead to fewer strokes and fewer ICU admissions.
Wow. Yeah. You echo the same sentiments?
100%. Also, it's not only just the diet that plays a part, but our sedentary lifestyle. Unfortunately, we have become lazy as a society. Ain't nobody walking down the road no more in this hot sun. When my car have AC and I could drive for 30 seconds from point A to point B. You understand? Because this sun ain't to play. We need to go back out in the sun, unfortunately. We need to start walking. We need to start walking. We need to start exercising. And not just for the fact that, you want to do it because you want to look good for carnival. I mean, if that's your motivation, great, right? But just walking for 30 minutes a day is enough to reset your body. It resets your mind, right? It helps. It's one of the good stress relievers. And if you take a solo walk or you walk with a good friend, sometimes work might have you you have to really say your prayers and Lord, not today, and your little mantras that you have to keep yourself in control. And then sometimes you take out with a good friend and you just let it all out. When you come back home, you feel, that was good.
But we also have to watch our stress levels as well. I feel
exactly.
Definitely.
Right now we have a society where back in the day, everybody was poor. Everybody basically had next to, I wouldn't say next to nothing, but you know what I'm saying. But right now, everybody's more accustomed to the soft life, and then a lot of us want to live above our means, and I think that creates a lot of stress.
It does.
And cognitive dissonance. I feel like it makes persons go harder than they really is necessary sometimes. So I feel like apart from changing your lifestyle and eating, I feel like sometimes we could reduce some of our expenses because that stresses out a lot of persons.
Yeah.
A lot of people have financial restraints and debt that keeps them up at night. So we should try to formulate ways to reduce tension reduction to how we manage our lifestyle in terms of what we
The financial
consume. The
aspect.
financial aspect of it stresses out a lot of people. at
Everyone-
times.
Especially when we're
wants an
coming down
iPhone.
to Christmas
Yeah.
season and we're talking about, oh, my child wanted the latest
latest iPhone.
Yes, those PS games are very expensive. How much is a
so
PS?
I don't
No
know.
idea.
What number are we at? It was a
I have
PS5
no idea.
the last time. Are we like a PS16 now?
I don't know.
I mean, we had the iPhone 17.
Wow.
So 17 Pro Max. So
I'm not that technologically up there.
Neither am
That's not
I.
my thing.
But
A good book is for me,
But
but
those things are so
good series is
expensive.
for
good series, yeah. So right, when it comes to Christmas time, I think we should more focus on what Christmas is really about. It's not just about getting gifts and buying gifts. It's literally about family, community, connection, love, right? And then we move into our festive time of the year for Carnival. Guys, if you're not accustomed to jump up for 6 hours straight throughout the year, don't bother try it on Juve morning.
And with alcohol in the
With
mix.
alcohol.
You don't think it's just like amazing that people are able to
They get the
jam
energy.
in the road
With the
for
sun
8
or rain.
hours
they
straight
get the energy.
with alcohol and any other controlled substance.
That's
that
really
they're not
dangerous. Actually, it's
supposed
going to
to.
make you very dehydrated.
Exactly.
The sun plus alcohol is a really bad combination if you're not
And-
hydrating otherwise.
Yeah, so like how are you able to do that for 8 hours?
So what's
And
the
we're
point of
Don't
asking,
eat.
yeah, and we're asking you to work out for 30 minutes a day, and it's like, nope, that's not
I
for
think that
me.
needs to be studied.
Like-
We probably need to do a survey
Yeah.
or something like that just to check what, I mean, outside of the festive nature and everything like that, the culture or whatever. So can we use that to tap into how we're supposed to be active for the rest
I
of the
think
year?
so.
And
I think so.
personally, you know what I think is a huge issue too? Peer pressure, you know.
Probably,
Even-
yes,
Even
yeah.
as adults, I've seen men pressure other men into drinking past their limit.
Limits, yeah.
And I know that this person has a condition, and I'm like, please don't succumb. And they succumb.
And they suck, and then we're the ones to blame because you bring this person half dead, and we're supposed to work magic and be like, breathe.
And then we'll be like, oh, you guys, didn't do what you're
Yeah,
supposed to do.
and I'm like, if you know your limit, that's the thing about the human body. The human body does not like change, right? The human
If
body
you
is
know your condition, like
Yeah.
if you have a particular condition
Stay away.
and you know this set of friends drink alcohol when they go out, please find an excuse not to go out with them.
Exactly.
Find an excuse. Tell them you have
And
diarrhea.
no is enough. No is enough. Honestly, no is enough, right?
Or just tell them you have diarrhea.
Yeah, that. If you don't want to,
If you don't want to go
sound
out,
off. Yeah.
If you don't want sound to soft,
Yeah.
Right.
just tell me you have
Yeah.
tummy issues.
Exactly, right? And now, like I was saying, the human body, it doesn't like change. It's all about survival mode. So whatever you practice consistently throughout the year, you can't just randomly change it for that one day. Your body's gonna be like, hello, we are not on the same level. You need to sit down. And if you don't want to sit down voluntarily, it will
It's
throw
gonna
you
drop.
down.
It's gonna drop.
It's gonna drop you. And sometimes you might not be able to get back up.
Or get back up the same way that you went out.
Exactly.
Unfortunately.
So we really need to work on that. So have fun, right? Respect your body, respect each other. Do not force people to do things that they don't want to do or they're not comfortable doing. They may not express to you what they are going through physically or health-wise. That's funny. They may not express that to you, and you don't know. It's like, man, just take one more shot. Meanwhile, they might be diabetic.
Yeah.
You just might put them in a diabetic coma.
And they probably just don't want to
And
tell you all of
exactly.
that.
Right.
Or, hypertension as it is. You jump up, and then you're not jumping up. Then everybody looking for your friend, you're on the ground. And people, and they're jumping up on them, vehicles run on top of them, and, it creates
What
a
I
disaster.
don't think that we hear a lot about enough of, actually, the young people are using lean.
What's lean?
Lean is
Codeine
cough
and
syrup
syrup.
mixed with it doesn't have alcohol. They mix the codeine.
Wow.
They mix the cough syrup with something and something, and it gives them some sort of
As a high?
But it really messes with your kidneys.
Not just that, cough syrup tends to like depress your system, yeah?
So then they also drink alcohol.
No, guys.
I've heard they're mixing it with grape Fanta, grape soda with the codeine and something else they're doing,
Guys,
and it's called
be
lean.
careful with your bodies. Do not play alchemist. This is crazy. You only have one body, and your job is to treasure it and cherish it. And if you don't, it's going to show you who's really. You're not the boss of your body. Your body is the boss of you. And if you don't take care of it, it will lash out on you. Please do not put random chemicals in your bodies and mix it to see what's gonna happen. Because they
never know what will happen.
I'm the scientist here. You are not. I'll do that.
They know what will happen. That's why they're doing it, is because they know what will happen. But
They love the hype.
I was shocked to find that we have young persons here indulging in lean.
No, don't guys.
We have.
That's disappointing.
It's happening.
Deceased.
Yeah.
Deceased, yes. So we're gonna take
She said deceased.
Oh boy, no pun intended. So let's take a short commercial break, and we'll be right back.
Smart Electronics, your one-stop shop for all your electronic needs. Unlock cell phones, tablets, laptop computers, Bluetooth speakers, TVs, mobile accessories, memory cards, USB drives. We carry all major brands. Now you don't have to go anywhere anymore. Everything's available under one roof. Smart Electronics at Port Sante, opposite the food court. Telephone 466-4271. Visit our website at dutyfreesmartelectronics.com. Smart Electronics, way to live a smart life.
To this final episode of HealthWise, we've been speaking with Dr. Jonathan Carty, who is an intensive care specialist, and also our regular host here, Drs. Lescott and Davis. I am your host, Clilia Davis, and we just want to impress upon the public, specifically for this upcoming carnival season, to take care of your body.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask all of the doctors on the panel to give a couple tips. It could be based from your own career experience or anything in general that you want to mention about how persons can actually take care of their bodies and what to do to avoid any ICU.
No,
we don't want
I'll go first
We do not
because
want
I know you guys gonna elaborate. But for me, one thing that stood out to me, one Juve, was one gentleman came to the ER with his blood pressure through the roof, and when we inquired, apparently from the time the season began, just straight Christmas cake.
Oh, wow.
And the Christmas cake is heavily laden with alcohol, like the rum cake. Guys, go easy on the rum cake. That's all I'm gonna say. I know it tastes good.
It does.
And it's like, it's not like as if you're actually like directly drinking alcohol, but it is an
It's,
alcoholic
product. So.
something that you're eating. So as a diabetic, just slow down on the rum cake.
Well,
That's all I have to say.
Well, basically, it's just, like we all mentioned before, being able to just go slowly. The alcohol, take your time, go to your limit. Don't overdo it. Be careful with the high consumption of salty food, like Dr. Prescott just mentioned, the rum cakes and the sweets for the diabetics out there. And to just have that limit. Go out, have fun, enjoy the season. It's the end of year. Everybody's thankful for something this year, looking forward for next year. They're going to go out and celebrate, but just do it and have your mark. Like, I'm going to this point, I'm going until then, and I won't have more. And then you just have fun. But
Within
caution,
limits.
Within limits,
Yeah.
And responsible.
And responsibility.
Overreach me?
Yes.
Okay, so I thought we were going in order.
No,
Okay,
the
so,
doctors are going to give their takes.
All right, so I have 3. My first one is no is also an answer, and no does not require an explanation. Guys, let's take one more drink. No. And that's it. That's the end. That's the entire.
That's the
paragraph.
entire
That's it.
sentence.
Correct.
No full stop. You can use an exclamation point if needed, but never a question mark. Just no. Right. The second one is, if you need to drink something, drink water. Right? You go out, and people like to go out and have like drinks and the chasers and water. That should be going down with it as well, right? If you want to avoid a nasty hangover, water. You want to stop vomiting, water. All right. And finally, sleep. Sleep is important. Don't go from road march to the next vet across the village, to the next vet across the village. You eat and you're drinking, and you ain't sleep. Your pressure going up too.
But you know, the influencers they say you have to have the stamina for sugar mass.
But how you gonna get the stamina if you're not asleep? Right? So sleep is very important. You finish jam, you take a nice shower, you go in your bed. Sleep that off. Wake up, stretch, drink some water, eat a fruit. Eat a fruit, eat some roughage, eat some vegetables.
Get some food.
Right?
Fiber.
Eat proper food, not no fast, heavy
KFC.
Something. Right? And KFC, come on. We're doing Christmas. Everybody cook pot food. Eat, right? Sleep, and continue having fun. You can't have fun if you lay down in a hospital bed because you will hear the band passing and you're going to feel away. And I going to feel away because when I could be in my bed, I have to be looking after you. So everybody going to feel away on Christmas Day. Protect yourselves, protect your body, guys. Have fun, have responsible fun, all right?
Sounds awesome. So I'd like to thank Dr. Carty for joining us. I think
Thank
it
you
was
for having me.
riveting, of course, it was a riveting conversation. I think whenever the three of us link up, doctors, it's always a great time.
We can't stop talking.
I know. And I love to thank our viewing and listening audience for tuning in with us every Monday. Well, almost every Monday on HealthWise here. It has been an absolute pleasure informing you of all things health and well-being. And we implore you and encourage you to sign back on with us next year, God spare, for another season of riveting conversations on HealthWise. So we want to wish you all the best for the upcoming Christmas and Carnival season. Remember to have safe, responsible fun. So good night, everyone, and take care.
Good night.
Bye.
Right.